everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome the newcomers. I hope you like what you see, and if so, be part of this journey by hitting that subscription button. It's free, and hit the bell notification to be notified of the new uploads. I would just like to mention that if the video is a little bit too fast for you, up top there's 3 little buttons. You can click there, slow down the video to the speed you'd like. Also right next to it there's the CC letters for closed caption. You can turn that on and you can read all the stitch that I'm calling down here. By pausing the video, take notes, will make it easier for you. Now normally when I upload the videos, it takes about an hour for YouTube to search all my words that I'm saying so it can appear on the closed caption. So don't panic if you don't see right away the closed captions, because the video has just been launched. It will show up in about a half an hour to an hour after the upload. I also would like to mention that if you have extra yarn, extra thread, and you'd like to help the women in need, we highly appreciate it and being very, very grateful for it. Thank you for the ones that already have helped and are still helping. If you'd like to donate, right below the video, there's a little bag of $. You can donate whatever amount you'd like. Nobody's asking for millions. Anything helps. It adds up at the end. You can also go into the description box. My PayPal account is there. You can donate through there if you'd like also. Please always give a thumbs up on the video if you like the video. It does help the video to circulate and also to be recognized worldwide. I gratefully appreciate it. Thank you so much. That's one way to help me out and to help to continue to create these beautiful pieces. Also share on your Facebook public. It costs nothing. Everything is free. There's no charge of anything. So please help out to grow the channel. I do have a Facebook group, private group. If you have a profile, you're more than welcome to request to be a member. It's free, of course, and we'll approve you. You must have a profile. Be careful with the links that you go into the groups that says cut and bit. These are fraud scammers that go through your phones, your computers, and take every information of yours. Do not open up those links. There's a lot of hackers in the groups now. That's why I made sure that my group is private. I want to thank every single one of you from the start being with me, and thank you so much for the newcomers. It costs nothing to subscribe, so please do so. Thank you so much, everybody. Everything will be listed always in the description box for every pattern that I create, the sizes, the thread that I use, which is Portugal thread. They're 100% cotton thread, 4-ply, which is similar to Aunt Lydia. Number 3, which number 3 Aunt Lydia is just a little bit thicker than my thread, not by much, but a little bit. I usually use a hook 3 or 3.5, a small one for tucking in loose ends, and a pair of scissors, of course. So thank you, everybody. Any other questions, suggestions, please feel free to comment. You can always get a hold of me if your intentions are to give some thread or yarn away. There's my email below the description box. There's my Facebook page that you can follow also, my Facebook group, my Instagram, my TikTok. So there's so many ways you can message me. Thank you so much, everybody. I hug every single one of you, and much blessings to all of you. Okay, let's get started. Okay, everyone, so today we're going to create another Christmas one since it's such a high demand for the Christmas doilies. So I just finished creating this one and figured I would do a tutorial on it. So I'll be using a 2.75 hook, small one to tuck in those ends, of course, pair of scissors. I'm using this very deep red, okay, and I also have this this shiny bling red. Okay, these are Portugal threads. This is a little bit thinner. It's almost like a little bit thicker than Aunt Lydia number 10, sorry. And this is just for my borders and my slip stitch in between. Some of you that follow me know already how I do my slip stitch, but of course I'll be showing it in the tutorial, especially for the beginners. These are 4-plies, 100% cotton thread. It's similar to Aunt Lydia, which I prefer Aunt Lydia number 3 because it gives you the bigger pattern, so I have to always extend a few more rows to get the right size. I'll be creating 3 different sizes. This is the small one, small doily, and I will be going into, so I'll do the big one for the tutorial, and then all you have to do is just cut down on rows. Like in this case, I have 10 rows, so probably I'll be going up to row 14 on the big one, or 16, depending upon whatever size you're really looking forward to, right? It'll, the increase is here. Now, if you notice on this, we're gonna, for the new ones that are not used to knowing the little trick on hiding the first double crochet or the 3 chains, so you don't have this line going through. So there's few techniques, and I love this shiny one because it's red. I know the camera won't give it justice at all, but it's a red gold. It's exactly like this gold here. Okay, it's just that it's so integrated into the red that you cannot see. This is like a nylon thread, by the way. So that's about it. This small one with the 10 rows and my size of 4-ply, 30, not bad at all. So this is a 30 centimeter. I also block, for the people that don't know, a lot of you that follow me know already, there's no point of going crazy on blocking your patterns, having so much hard work with it when you can just choose any laundry softener. First, it smells good. Second, it just stiffens out the pattern. As you can see here, it's just perfect. So what I do is, once I'm done, I spray a little bit all over. Doesn't have to be much, just, stretch it with your hands. Now, you can leave it flat and let it dry. In my case, I don't let it dry because I'm doing tutorials. I'm always working. So to hurry up and, get it going and to show you guys, or if I have an order and it has to go out, there is no time for that. So I light iron over it, and I'm stretching with my hands as I'm pressing the iron. A little bit of steam, perfect, and it just stays nice and flat. It's not going to go anywhere. Okay, so laundry softener, which is perfect because, especially if you're selling or giving it as gifts, once they open that beautiful wrap box, I mean, just the smell of the softener, right? The laundry softener, it's just perfect. And that's just pure. There's nothing mixed in there. I just bought this little thing at the dollar store, let's say in my dollar store here in Europe, and a little container, a spray bottle, and then just fill that up with my laundry softener. Okay, so we're going to get started. Very easy. As you can see, it's all double crochets. The only touch is the slip stitch all the way through in between the rows, and single crochets and picot without being picot. And what do I mean by that? So chain 3, come in, close it in either with single or slip stitch. Chain 5 on the center, close it in either with single or slip stitch, and chain 3. So chain 3, chain 3, chain 5. But you can go higher if you want your little picots there to be a little bit longer. Okay, so let's get started, everyone. Please don't forget to share the video. If you're not subscribed, please do so. I see on my YouTube studio, a lot of you people are creating it, and you have not subscribed and not even bothered to give a like. And I think that's so disrespectful. I mean, we go out of our ways and a lot of hours and days, weeks, months, years, just bringing out these patterns for you guys. The least you guys can do is at least give that like or subscribe. It costs nothing. It's free. Give a comment. It helps the video. These are the things that help videos grow, and YouTube circulates it more often so other people can have a chance to recognize our channel. It's the only way. I mean, we work so hard for it. So please be generous, be kind, and thank you for the women that came through for the thread, for the women in need, and your donations of the super chat, super thanks if you want to call it. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Let's get started, everyone. Okay, everyone. So the first thing we want to do is make that magic circle. In case you still have a hard time with it, then do a 6 chain. So we're going to do one chain here and come back in and do a single. We're going to form our first double crochet, 2 chain going up, so single 2 chain, that's our first double crochet. We're going to have a total of 14 double crochets. Now the center of this pattern is no different than many others that I've created, many different doilies. If you go into the playlist, try to organize my patterns individual, so I titled doilies, so everything has to do with doilies is on the playlist. You could always go there. There's a lot of different doilies with the same beginning of this base for the pattern. Okay, so 14, row 1. So we completed our 14 double crochet. I'm pulling into my string. Now, to close in, don't close in. I know a lot of my videos I have done the closing in on the first just to not thinking about it and just keep going. But you don't want to have that that line going up, right? Especially with these ones. Of course, I'm going to be extremely careful because this is for someone. So I'm going to come into the second double crochet here, okay? And I'm going to close it in with a slip stitch. So you can have a nice firm close, and you cannot see the first stitch going up, and then stretch it. Some of you already know that I do this, but for new ones or beginners don't know. So grab your string into the next space and pull it into the back. Okay, so we don't want it too loose though. Let me just fix this again. Make sure that it's not too loose. So you come into the second double crochet, not the first one, not the single with that 2 chain, and then stretch it a bit, come into from behind into the next space and bring your string to the back. This, you do this all the way up when you're going changing rows. This way you can never see the lining. So you're going to come back in to the same one as you just went in, and you're going to do a single and 2 chain, and this is your first double crochet again. Into the same space we're going to create another double crochet. So this row is an increase 2 double crochet per space. Make sure you don't miss that first one here right after you bring it to the back, because sometimes they stay so tight in it can get tricky and you can miss it. So 2 double crochets per space, so you'll have a total of 24 double crochets. Okay, not 24, sorry, 28 double crochets on your second row, 2 together per space. Okay, so I've come to the end. I've done my 2 double crochets on the same space, and now I'm gonna, we started with a single 2 chain, so we're gonna skip this one, right? And we're coming into the second one and we're closing in with a slip stitch. So this way you won't have marks going up. I'm going to stretch it a bit here, and I'm going to pull my string to the back. Make sure you don't leave the tension too loose or else it will be very noticeable. Do my single and 2 chain. Into the same space again, another double crochet. Next space, I'm going to do 1 double crochet alone. Next space, 2 together. Next space, 1 double crochet alone. Next space, 2 together. Now these rows are going to be following like this all the way until the desired size you'd like. I don't know yet if I'm going to do 12 or 14 or 16 rows. You could always advance the video and see. And you should always look at the video before you create anything. Always look ahead, because things can be changed. Some stitches probably need to be adjusted. You know, I don't do this out of patterns. I do this out of my head, so it's not like I'm counting stitches, okay? So 2 double crochet and 1 alone. Now the next row is going to be very simple. I'll show you here, especially for the new people that are not used to the pattern. Some of you are, I know. So we're here on the third row. So we're here. So we have 2 together, 1 alone, 2 together, 1 alone. The next row, 2 together, 2 alone, 2 together, 2 alone. The next row, 2 together, 3 alone, 2 together, 3 alone. Next row, 2 together, 4 alone, 2 together, 4 alone. And it continues on like that until the desired length you like. Just make sure that you finish off on even numbers. So even numbers meaning 10 rows, 12 rows, 14 rows, 16 rows. I'm going to continue to do mine exactly as I explained to you. And you could always advance the video and see for this medium one or this big one. I'll decide as I'm going. Probably the big one. Now what I'm going to do also with the big one, I am going, instead of doing 2 rows here, I'm going to do 3. So that means I'll probably be using white, red, and white again. Okay, just to bring out the bigger piece and even the medium to you know, stand out from the small one. Okay, so I'll meet you at the end of how many rows I'm going to do. So very simple, nothing to it. So this row 3, 2 together, 1 alone. Okay, 2 together, 1 alone. So row 3, 2 together, 1 alone. Row 4, 2 together, 2 alone. Row 5, 2 together, 3 alone. Row 6, 2 together, 4 alone. And it continues on like that. Okay, so I'll meet you at the end of mine. Okay, you guys, so I've gone up to 13 rows. Now, I did mention to you at the beginning that you should finish on even number. And that's for the small one, of course, but I'm going to stop because I want to make this one a medium. So I'm going to stop at 13. You could go to 14, obviously, to have your even number. I'm going to stop at 13. Now, on this one here, if I recall clearly, I had to make a little adjustment somewhere. I can't remember where. But this one here, we skip 1, 2, 3, 4, and we go into the 5th one. 1, 2, 3, 4, into the 5th one. But I think there's that one point here where I had to add, I think it was 2 together. Anyway, so I can't remember now. But usually when we skip here, if you get to the end and either you don't have enough, then just go back a space on your groups and add 2 together in the same space. It's not going to change anything on your book. Okay, so row 13. Now, like I said, you can go 14, you can go 16, whatever the case may be. I'm sure I'm probably going to have to make an adjustment on here because I stopped at 13. But that's okay. I mean, that's not new. So I closed in with a slip stitch. I'm going to come in to the next space after I've closed with the slip stitch and do a single. Now this row here is just singles all the way around. And oh, I remember what I did. Okay, so I had 142 double crochets on that one, and I needed 140, so I had 2 extra, or should I say I had 142 singles, because where we have the increase of the 2 together, right, I've also done the increase with a single, and I have 2 extra ones on there. So that is not a problem. You just skip the single, okay, which is even less noticeable because it's single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you keep going on, okay? So where you have your increase of the 2 double crochet. So just do your increase also 2 together of the single, okay? So I'm getting into my increase here because on this row 13 I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Let me just count this better on this side because that's the closing on that one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I was right. Okay, 11. So on your 12 one, we have the increase on row 13. So we have 11 double crochets alone. And on the 12th one, it's 2 together. Okay? So here I am on the 12th. On my second double crochet where we have both together, I'm going to add another single. So 2 singles where we have the increase on the second double crochet, and then continue on from there. Okay, so nothing to it. And once you get to the increase here again with on the 12, or if you're doing 14, so that means you'd have 13, right? You'd have 12 alone, and on your 13th you'd have 2 together. That's row 14. So you'd put on the second one 2 together, 2 singles together. So I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so I pretty much finished doing row 14, all my singles. Now, it could look funny, a little bit like that, but if you give it a nice little stretch, and when we start putting the next rows, then everything is going to come perfect. And on top of that, once you use the laundry softener to block it and stretch it with your hands, again, it will be more straight, exactly like that one. Okay, so now we've done the single. I'm going to come back in the same space and I'm going to do another single and 2 chain for double crochet. Okay? Next space. Okay, let's redo this again. So we did the single. I'm just going to pull it to the back like we've been doing with the other ones. I think it will look nicer. So we're going to pull into the next space. Just grab your thread and pull it to the back. It's easy to do, but because of my nails, and I'm a nail tech for some of you that don't know, so obviously I have to keep my nails long. Unfortunately, sometimes it's, you know. Okay, so come back and do a single like we've been doing, and 2 chains, so that equals a double crochet. Next space, so we're going to do groups of 8 double crochet, 1 per space. So we have 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 double crochets. Okay, we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chain, and we're going to skip 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going in the 5th single. Next space again, start creating those 8 double crochets again, 1 per space. So very simple. So this row is groups of 8 double crochet, skip 4 space going to the 5th, and a 5 chain between them. 2, 4, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, so again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chain, 1, 2, 3, 4 on your 5th. Create your groups again. Okay, so we're going to have that effect like that. I'll meet you at the end. Okay, you guys, so I've reached the end. Lucky for me, there was only one little adjustment to make. So I do have my 4 chains going to the 5th, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm on the 5th where we started. But here I had to put 2 together because if it would make a difference really if I had put it here, it would have been. But just to give it that dimension, same space, we don't want it to look one too small than the other. So in my last one here, I've added 2 together so it can be the same space as square there. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then after this, we're cutting our thread. So I've closed in with a slip stitch on my second chain. Pull into the string. And I'm going to tuck in my string inside of the chain here because we're doing the double crochets in here. So it's going to cover the string. It's going to secure it, right? So I'm just going in through these loops over here on the string. And I'm making one knot here just to make sure that nothing is coming out. And I'm cutting the excess. So now I'm going to come in with my white. So we're going to do the slip stitch knot. Always leave, no matter when you're doing the slip stitch knot, always leave a little bit of string so you can tuck in so nothing comes out. So inside of these squares, we're going to do 11 double crochet. So I'm already tuck in my thread, so I'm doing a single, 2 chain. Again, double crochet. So we're going to do this 11 times. Okay, so 11 double crochets inside of the space. Now, even the small one I have 11, but if you feel that your stitch is like too crumpled up, you don't like it, you can do 9 or 8 or 7. It's up to you. Now, I'm going to skip 1, 2. On my third one, I'm coming in with single. And actually, I'm going to use back loops only to get that effect up front. So grab the back loop, single, next space, single, next space, single, and the last space here, well, on the 4. So we're skipping 2 front and 2 in the back. We're having 4 singles. Again, we come directly into the space and create our 11 double crochets. Okay, very simple. So, and then again, we're going to skip 1, 2, and go into the third and do 4 singles exactly like we did here. Okay, so we have our 11 double crochets again. So I'm going to skip 1, 2 on my third one using back loops only. 1, 2, 3, 4 single. And I'm trying to go almost like directly in the middle of, instead of just grabbing that little loop back there, because then it pulls too much on the pattern, especially when you're doing like a few rows, you know. Okay, and then back. So we have 4 singles and then back into the 5 chain. Now, as you see, we skipped 1, 2, went into the third. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we skipped the last 2. Okay, I'll meet you at the end. Okay, you guys, so I reached the end. Now, reaching the end, I've noticed when I got here to this one, I have 9 instead of 8. So I made a mistake. I'm putting an extra 1. So here I had to skip 1, 2, 3, and I went in my 4th. So obviously, if I hadn't made this mistake of having 9 double crochets, it's supposed to be 8, I would have been perfect here at the end because I had to put an extra 1 here. Remember? I had to add 2 together. Well, that explains to me why I didn't arrive into the proper one. But no problem. No biggie, no issue. So we did the 4. I'm coming into the second chain on my first double crochet. Okay. And on that one, I have 11 of these motifs. Okay. Just in case you're creating with the 10 rows on here. And this one I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. This one I have 16. Okay. Now, I'm going to do 3 rows of this motif because obviously this is big, the centerpiece, so we want to give it a nice stretch on that one too. So on the one with the 10, the small one, I did 11 double crochets also on top of the double crochets. But here, because I'm doing 3 rows, I'm going to skip and I'm going into the second double crochet with a single. So I went in with a slip stitch, did 1 chain, came back in, did a single, 2 chain, next space, double crochet, next space, double crochet, and again double crochet. So 1 double crochet per space. Okay, so I'm not doing the first one and I'm not doing the last one. I'm going to skip the first one and I'm coming into the second single and next space single. So now I have 2 singles. I'm going to skip the first double crochet and I'm coming into the second double crochet. So you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 double crochets. Okay, and again 1 per space, and then when you skip, you're going to skip the first single, going to the second with a single and a single again, so you'll have 2 singles. I'll meet you at the end. Okay, you guys, so I finished that row. As you can see, the pattern is just coming together. It's just, you know, getting closer and closer to the stitch. Now, what I'm going to do, we're going to do, that's optional for you, we're going to do the small little line with that bling golden red. So I'm going to pull quite a bit of string. I'm not cutting it off. I'm going to continue on to the next row. But before I do and make it very complicated to get this going through between the 2 rows here, I'm going to use this gold. I know it's hard to see on camera, but it's very bling bling gold red. And we're going to do it in between the 2 rows. So I'm going to leave a little bit of string so I can tie in my loose ends at the end there to tie it together when I arrive at the end. So slip stitch knot. Okay, I'm just going to start here just so. And we're going to grab that loop in the back. Okay, so I'm going to come in between rows and bring that thread to the front. Okay. This is so simple. A lot of you that follow me know already how I do this. So slip stitch, and don't tighten your tension because your pattern will crumple up. So I'm just going in between both rows here and just doing a slip stitch without tightening too much my tension, just letting the thread flow through and into also the where we have the singles here, of course on each single, and then again in between the 2 rows of the double crochet. So all you're doing is just grabbing your thread from the back, bringing it to the front, and slip stitch. That's all there is to it. So very simple. We're going to continue to do this all the way around. Okay, then you get to where your singles are. Don't get confused with the second row. We have to do this on the first row, right, of the singles. This is very easy once you get the hang of it. Now, I'm a fast crocheter, but take your time with it. There's no need to rush for you. For me, it's just a habit and a tutorial, of course, so I can't waste too much time on the memory on my phone, okay? And then I'll meet you at the end. Okay, you guys, so I did my slip stitch on the last one. I'm going to cut my thread, leave it a little bit longer, and I'm going to grab my smaller hook, and I'm going to come from behind and bring this thread to the back, okay? Now, this one's got the gold and everything, so it pulls onto everything at once. Okay, so I'm going to bring this to the back, and once I'm in the back, I'm going to tie them together. The first and the little bit of that string that we started, like I told you to leave it a little bit longer. Okay, and just make 2 or 3 knots on here to make sure that nothing is going to come apart. Now, this specific thread, I was looking at the label because my other gold one doesn't say anything about it, what kind of a thread. I think it's a nylon, but anyway. So this one says it's 80% cotton thread and 20% polyester. Okay, so then I made 2 knots. I'm just going to come from where I have the other red little strings here and just pull it through 1 or 2 of them on each side, just so it can be more secure. Then I'm going to cut it, and there we go. So we got this bling bling red on. We're going to continue with the white. Also, for the people that did the magic circle, you already know, most of you, that I tuck in my thread inside of the loops back here. So I just go around a few times. Well, not a few times, just a couple of them here and there, just so we can make sure that this is tied in. It's not going to go anywhere once you wash it, or if you're giving it as gifts and people wash it. And then just cut the excess off, and you got a perfect finish there. Okay, so back to our white. That's why I didn't want to cut my thread. Now, we're going to come back in the same space and do a single. We had closed in with a slip stitch, right? 1, 2 for double crochet, and 1 more for space. Oh, wait a minute. So, single, 2 chains, sorry. No, I was right. Oh, I don't know why I did that. Okay, so single and 3 chain. I'm coming back into the same space. We're doing an increase here at the beginning and on the last one. 1 chain space. So we're having 2 together on the first double crochet. We're going to total our 11 just the same. And then double crochet, 1 chain space. Double crochet, 1 chain space. And again, now you could have used a red color here if you wanted to on your second row. I didn't want to do it. I wanted to be something completely different style on colors, since it's very Christmassy, you know. So it's not always like a repeat same thing of same colors and so on. And then on the last one, you're going to add the 2 together, but 1 chain space between them. So we're going to end up with our 11 double crochets, just the same. Okay, now we're going to come into where we have the 2 chains right on the center and close with a single. And then again, 1 double crochet on the first double crochet, 1 chain, and the second double crochet. And then 1 per space until the end. get into the last one, you do 2 together. You should have a total of 11 double crochets. And then we'll do, we'll only have one more row left, which is that picot in the center. But I will be doing a second row here with a slip stitch between the 2 rows. So that's optional for you too. You could do it or you can leave it as is. I mean, it's up to you. It's just giving you ideas. Okay, so this is what it looks like. And I'll meet you at the end. Okay, you guys, as you can see, now it's nice and flat, obviously, because all the stitches are put in, so it came out just gorgeous. Now we're going to do exactly the same thing as we did here. We're going to do it here between the second and the last row. So come back in again with your, whatever color you're using. It could be any color for that matter. Leave a bit of string again in order to tie it at the end. I've tucked in my loose ends. Now just come in again between the second and the third row anywhere. Pull your string through and continue to do the same thing. And then cut your thread, because then we'll do the last row with singles and picot at the center. So again, don't tighten your tension too much because it will pull on the pattern. It's just going to shrink it up again. We don't want to do that. So I'm just leaving it some loosage, going with the pattern, not against it, and into the double crochets here, the singles, sorry. Oh, I'm saying double crochets. Okay, and then just slip stitch right through it. Then get to the end, cut your thread, tie it up like we did. And look how stunning that's starting to look. And then we're going to do the single up here and the picot exactly like we have on that one. Okay? Okay, you guys, onto the last row. If I can get a little bit more lighting here so it doesn't give too much reflection. So I've tucked in already my row. Now it's going to pull a bit, obviously, because we're doing slip stitch. But don't worry, because even if it pulls a little bit, once we spray it and stretch it out with our hands, it's all going to come together. Okay, so now we're going to do singles. And we're going to come into the first space in between the first and second double crochet with a single. Next space, single. I'm trying to hide my thread. Next space, singles. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we've done 4 singles. I'm coming into the 5th one. So now we have 5 singles. I'm going to do chain 3. I'm going to come back in with a single, or you can do with a slip stitch, it's up to you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chain, come back in, single or slip stitch, doesn't make a difference. 1, 2, and 3, and back in again on the same space. So we've got that little flower thing, if you want to call it, picot, little flowers. So next space, single, next space, and don't tighten your tension too much, especially if your thread is thinner, like in my case. This one is thinner than my regular one. Okay, and then we have the single here, so single, and then you again 1, 2, 3, 4 on your 5th one. 1, 2, 3. And back in either with single or slip stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, back in again, 1, 2, 3 chain, and into the same space again, single, single. So it's just a repeat now. So very simple, as you see, and it makes a gorgeous pattern. You can use whatever different colors you want and make it, you know, for seasonal, whatever time of the year that you would like to display it. Now, this is pretty much it for that. And so now, once I'm done, I'm going to spray. I'm going to stretch it out, and I'm going to light iron, but you don't have to. You have time enough to let it flat somewhere and let it dry. I'll have the sizes and everything below in the description box. Now, remembering that the small one, I have 10 rows of this, okay? Everything else stays the same, and only 2 rows of, the only difference is because I have only 2 rows, I did double crochet with 1 chain space over double crochet. So I have 11 and I have 11. Okay, so that's about it. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Please don't forget to give a thumbs up on the video. It's extremely important. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. It helps the channel. Also share with your friends and family. And I will see you in the next tutorial. Thank you so much, everybody. God bless.